Hello, what's up, and what's happening? Welcome to my league. This is the first episode of my league, and this is the intro episode. So in this one, you're going to see what we have done so far, and you're going to see my plans for this mode. Now, first things first, this is a fantasy draft. As you can see, Patrick Ewing, he is on the 76ers. Yes, Patrick Ewing. That means we have the legends in here too. Penny Hardaway on the Sixers, Monte Ellis. So what I did was I downloaded a file that had legendary players, and we're going to use that file, and we're doing the fantasy draft. Now, the team that I'm using is the Golden State Warriors, right? That's my favorite team. Might as well use them. Now, I will be doing a My GM, and a My GM is going to be more realistic. It's going to be very realistic. You know, I plan on going through that, you know, probably 2 to 3 seasons. Nothing's really guaranteed, but we're definitely going to do more than 1 season. Don't know how deep, but we're definitely going to do at least 2 seasons in My GM. So you can let me know in the comment section what team you want me to use. It's not going to be ridiculous, like I'm going to make heck of trades to make the Milwaukee Bucks relevant in the first year. Not doing that, but I will definitely try to get my team to the playoffs in year 1. But that's for my GM. This is my league. Now, in my league, again, we got the fantasy. It's a fantasy draft with the legendary players. The reason why I wanted to do this, because I'm still getting used to the game, so I wanted to, you know, get better at the game before we jump into my GM. Another reason is I'm waiting on a rookie draft class. I want at least 1 season of rookies that are going to be in the league next year for at least, you know, the first draft. You know, just to see who's out there, just to see who we can get to help rebuild a team that I'm going to use. So in here, we're just looking at everybody's rosters. There's no gameplay in this video. We're just looking at everybody's rosters. Another thing, I want all my series to be unpredictable. So if you're a fan of my Madden stuff, you know that I try to make it as hard as possible, whether it's Ultimate Team and I pick a lesser team, or whether it's my Jets franchise and I have ridiculous sliders to make it nearly impossible for me to win. That's what I like, and I got that slider idea because of how 2K is. We all know about Hall of Fame and how difficult it can be. In this year's game, it is extremely difficult. I've played about 10 games versus the CPU on Hall of Fame simulation, and it's ridiculously hard. And then I did the All-Star game, and I was getting blown out in the first quarter. It was like 32 to 17. But I figured out something to do. Pass the ball. Move the ball around, right? How ridiculous is that? That's the way to actually score points in this game. Because in other games, you could ISO Kobe. You could, you know, get him in the post, you know, do his little footwork stuff and get him, you know, going that way. In this year's game, it is not like that at all. Now, there will be times where you do get the ball into the post to your star players and this and that. Oh, another thing. Tim Hardaway is on the Heat. Now, I believe that they retired his number in real life. So you can see here trying to get his number to be number 10. But, you know, 2K, they have the retired numbers out of the game. But if you know how to get that where I can change his number, you know, maybe take off the retired numbers, then please let me know. And then again, Tim Hardaway Jr. is also on the team, man. So you got Tim Hardaway Sr. and Tim Hardaway Jr. on the Miami Heat. I thought that was pretty funny. But again, I think that this year's 2K, you got to play like the Spurs, man. You got to move that ball around. Even if you have a great player that's great at isolation on Hall of Fame difficulty, you might be able to beat your man off the dribble, but then it looks like your player is just going to go in for an easy layup, but actually miss it. Like, it's the craziest thing in the world. But when I was moving the ball around, I had a lot more success. So hopefully in the first game, which we'll be dropping tomorrow, we can have some success. We can have some success, because if we don't make it to the playoffs, then so be it. We're not going to make it to the playoffs, and we're going to start up a new one. You know, maybe create some legends like maybe Chris Webber, Reggie Miller, Charles Barkley, T-Mac, you know what I mean? Do something like that, because I'm going to keep these my leagues going. I don't want to do 82 game seasons in my league. It's just 29 games, play every single team, and then, of course, get straight to the playoffs. And then again, in my GM, we'll be doing all 82 games. You will see all 82 games, maybe not like all of them as far as regular gameplay. Maybe you'll just get highlights in some of them, you know what I mean? But you'll definitely get a gameplay every single video. But what I'm saying is, let's say that we have a 5-game stretch and it's like versus the Bucks, versus teams that are not that good. Then we'll probably just give you guys the highlights of those videos and then do a full game of whatever game I think is going to be the most entertaining for you guys to watch. So moving right along, if you saw the Lakers roster going back up to the top, they had two Celtics. I don't know if you could call them both Celtic legends, but one of them is definitely a Celtic legend, and Larry Bird. Larry Bird is on the Lakers wearing 35 because, again, Kareem Abdul-Jabbar, he wore 33. That number's retired, so I couldn't get Larry Bird at 33, so he's wearing 35. And they also had Rajon Rondo. So Rajon Rondo is also on the Lakers. So you have two Celtics on the Lakers. That's one of the issues with fantasy drafts. You kind of get some things that you would never see ever. But hey, it is what it is. Moving on to the Brooklyn Nets, you see that they got Dwayne Wade and they got Wilt Chamberlain. But after that, it really does drop off. They do have Lowry, who's going to play point guard for them. He's a solid point guard, most definitely. But at the end of the day, the teams that only have 3 players over 80 overall, it never really works out for them in these game modes. So you see the Nuggets, they got Tony Parker, Al Jefferson, and they also had, I believe that's Rudy Gay. So the Nuggets, they also have a pretty good team. But again, if they don't have 3 to 4 players over 80 overall, then it will be harder for them. The teams that have like 5 players 80 overall, those are the teams that will definitely be in the playoffs. You see the Indiana Pacers, they got Oscar Robertson. Oscar Robertson, in today's world, he's one of the most underrated point guards of all time. This man was crazy good. I believe he averaged a triple-double for one season, averaged a double-double for his whole career. And he's a flat-out monster. But when you talk about the best point guards of all time, not too many people mention Oscar Robertson no more, because all everybody knows is Derrick Rose and D. Will and all these other, and Westbrook and Steph Curry and all these other guys. Now, I love me some Steph Curry, don't get me wrong, but Oscar Robertson was a bad boy. And you see the Detroit Pistons, they have 2 current Pistons on the roster. They have Drummond and they have Jennings, but they also have James Harden and Tim Duncan. So the Pistons should definitely be a force in the East. So I'm definitely excited to see what the East can do. And look at my man Jordan Michael Jeffrey. Jordan is a member of the Toronto Raptors. At least he gets to wear 23, which is good. But man, it's crazy. I remember doing this last year, and there was like 6 different Michael Jordans. You had 2 Kobes, you had the regular Kobe, and then you had Froby. You know, this year, I guess whoever made this roster set took all the duplicates out. So there's only 1 Kobe, only 1 Magic, only 1 Jordan, you know, only 1 Tim Duncan. So I'm not really complaining. It makes it more realistic. And don't worry, we're coming up on the Warriors. I know we're going through all the teams. It's taking a long time. I do apologize. I wanted you guys to see who's on everybody's roster. And then when we get to the Warriors, we're going to break it down, baby. But you see the Spurs, they have a pretty solid team. It's pretty deep. It's pretty deep team. They got some that's a nice big man. They got Jimmy Fredette buried on the depth chart. Gary Payton from my hometown, Oakland, California, to be exact. That team, I like the Suns. The Suns are pretty deep. They got Gary Payton. They also had Davis, John Starks, Gerald Green. You know, so not a bad team. Not a bad team at all. Maybe not the best, but definitely not a bad team. So moving right along, LeBron James is a member of the Oklahoma City Thunder with Derrick Rose. That team is going to be explosive. And Mitch Richmond. Again, team is going to be explosive. They have a big 3, a real big 3. Of course, you got LeBron James, best player in the game right now, Derrick Rose, Mitch Richmond. That team looks scary, but after Mitch Richmond, it really drops off. It really does. Moving on to the Timberwolves, they have Isaiah Thomas and they have Scottie Pippen. Nene, that's a nice pickup. Dion Waiters. So the Timberwolves, they can make some noise. All the teams are pretty evenly matched, especially when you add in the legends. You know what I mean? Because you still have today's great players, from Kevin Durant to, you know, Kevin Durant, if you've missed it, he plays for the Celtics. And yeah, so you mixing in the great players, you know, with today's great players, you know, the legends with today's all-stars. Every team is pretty competitive, but hopefully our team can stand out. So check out the Blazers. The Blazers have one of my favorite players, Victor Oladipo. I love saying that kid's name, Victor Oladipo. I like him. He's probably going to be a beast going forward. I think he's already solidifying himself as the best player on the Magic going forward, and that's one of the reasons why I want to do a My GM with the Magic. I think that would be dope. We can get some other pieces around Victor Oladipo. Maybe he can do some things. So you see the Wizards. Now it's time to move on to the Warriors, and who we got? We got Julius Erving, Dr. J. You can't go wrong there. 27 years of age. And then we're moving on to Kobe Bryant, rocking the number 8 because number 24 is retired. I believe that was Barry's number for the Warriors, so that number's retired. So we're giving him number 8 like he was rocking back in the day. Moving right along, John Stockton. John Stockton, one of the best point guards to ever do it. He's on the team. Jamal Crawford will probably be my sixth man coming off of the bench. Now, if you see a trend, our team is pretty old. Our team is pretty old. Derek Favors is the youngest player on the team. Then we go to Vince Carter, aka Vince Sanity. He tore down the roof at Oracle back in the day with the dunk contest. Moving along, also got Amar'e Stoudemire and Kevin Garnett, giving him number 21. Kirk Hinrich, he's on the team as well. It was between him and Steve Nash. Steve Nash with those injury issues. I didn't want nobody to get hurt. Last year they had some injury bugs. This year they said they fixed the injury bug situation, but I went with Kirk Hinrich over Steve Nash because I didn't want nobody to get hurt. So Chris Anderson, he's going to come in for defensive purposes, get some fouls. You know what I mean? This be somebody out there hustling. Again, I'm a Warriors fan, so we had to pick up Jason Richardson. It was only right. He won a couple of dunk contests himself. He was the best player on the Warriors for a very, very long time when the Warriors were very, very bad. And Udonis Haslem, he's the last player on the roster. Again, not a bad team. I think our team is pretty good, especially when you go back up to the top where we got Kobe, we got Julius Erving, aka Dr. J, Amar'e Stoudemire, Kevin Garnett with Favors. I think this team can make a deep run into the playoffs. I'm hoping so. I'm hoping so, because only doing one season with this team, man. You guys will get all 29 games versus all the opponents in the NBA against all the teams in the NBA, and hopefully we can get to the playoffs and make a deep run. Our first game will be versus the Clippers. They got Shawn Kemp, Joe Dumars, so it should be a good one. But that's gonna do it. That's my time. Hope you guys enjoyed the video. As always, I enjoy bringing it to you. Hope that the rest of your day is the best of your day, and I'm gonna see y'all later. Peace. Hot sauce.